Newsom and Karen Bass have already proven their incompetence and poor leadership during the Los Angeles wildfires. Now, as we experience rampant lawlessness and civil unrest, it's never been more clear.
Tyrus.
What I saw,
Yeah.
what it looked to me like he was negotiating with a deaf prostitute.
Picture this. Mel Gibson storms in like he's auditioning for Mad Max, Governor Edition. Tyrus is right behind him, looking like he just walked out of a WWE SmackDown. And suddenly, Gavin Newsom becomes the main event in a roast he never signed up for. These two didn't just call him out. They practically sent him a farewell card soaked in sarcasm. This isn't politics as usual. It's Hollywood chaos slamming straight into a hard reality check.
Turmoil. And I asked my fellow Angelinos, why are Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass still in office? How much more of their destructive decision-making masquerading as leadership are we going to tolerate? It's time to take back our community and our state and put the power and the privilege in the hands of competent leaders whose goals are to protect us and the way of life this nation was founded.
Mel Gibson has never been the kind to quietly sip tea in the corner. He's the guy who kicks the door open, flips the table, and warns everyone the tea is poisoned while locking eyes with your soul. And this time, his latest moment isn't about swords, war paint, or holy wars. It's about none other than Gavin Newsom, the walking shampoo commercial turned political star.
Back and watch the tape.
Yes!
He literally goes, I want some of this, then you do some of this, and I'll do some of that back to you, and then we'll do this, and then I'll pay you, and then we'll do it again.
True.
And then she kept saying, no. Okay, how about this? You do this one first, then we do this one, then we give a little back and forth.
If you're enjoying this takedown, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. California's governor, the man who looks like he was sculpted from marble by someone armed only with hair gel and smugness, is now stuck in a storyline even Hollywood wouldn't touch. He's built like a refrigerator with opinions, the kind of guy who could snap a folding chair just by sitting down. If Gibson is the chaos grenade, then Tyrus is the solid iron anvil. And together, they became a tag team that makes Newsom look like a background extra in his own political soap opera. You know things have fully gone off the rails when your toughest critics aren't rival politicians, but a no-filter Hollywood firebrand and a wrestler-turned-commentator who treats nonsense like a serious medical condition.
Did he leave out anything? I think there's about 100 other reasons, too.
Well, you can't, it's not his words when he speaks.
Yeah.
You have to watch him closely. And some genius decided not to film him any lower than the shoulder.
Yes, did you? Yes.
So what did he do?
You couldn't see the hands.
No, but he sent Morse code.
So, why is Newsom in the hot seat? Simple. He runs California like an overpriced amusement park where the rides are broken, the bathrooms are locked up, and parking still costs $50. Instead of fixing the chaos, he just shines his grin like it's a trophy on display. Mel and Tyrus had clearly had enough of the circus. And they didn't just throw shade, they completely eclipsed his spotlight.
Governor Gavin Newsom and LA Mayor Karen Bass, well, they were also suggesting that LA was under control. They had it covered while, of course, LA was essentially burning. And they've been blaming Donald Trump for all the chaos in LA, while Gavin Newsom has been trying to emerge as the strong leader of the Democrats as he eyes off the presidency in 3 years' time. But actor Mel Gibson has spoken out, blasting the governor and the mayor, rightfully so, for their disastrous leadership.
Mel Gibson's angle is crystal clear. This is a man who spent decades in Hollywood watching fakes climb to the top by perfecting fake sincerity. And nothing screams fake louder than Newsom acting like the golden boy of progressive politics while his state looks like the set of a dystopian Netflix series. Gibson probably looks at Newsom and thinks, I've played villains less cartoonish than this guy. If Gibson is slicing him apart with precision, Tyrus is plowing through like a sarcasm-fueled freight train. But here's the kicker. This isn't just about bad policies. It's about the image. Newsom struts around like a wannabe president, hair slicker than an oil spill, practicing his serious leader look in the mirror like he's auditioning for a soap opera. Meanwhile, real California is a place where deodorant is locked behind glass at drugstores and tent cities compete with Starbucks for corner space. It's Gotham without Batman. And Mel Gibson has finally had enough.
Yeah.
He's negotiating with the deaf prostitute.
Yeah.
Let's just stick with that.
Yeah. More likely.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people have been coming out and calling out, you know, Gavin Newsom endlessly, and the biggest one of all is Mel Gibson. We all know that he is a very big, open critic of Gavin Newsom, and he continues to actually do that, and rightfully so, because we already know that there's a lot of issues going on right now within the state of California.
Picture this. Gibson points out the chaos. Tyrus backs him up with a smirk that says, "Yeah, we see you." And Newsom is left standing like a prom king whose crown just got yanked. The sting isn't just that they called him out. It's that the takedown feels like the roast of the century, where Hollywood madness and wrestling grit team up to humiliate you. His politics have officially entered meme territory. California now looks like a pothole-filled road, expensive to fix, painful to navigate, and somehow ignored by the guy hired to maintain it. The brilliance here is that Gibson isn't pretending to be polite. He's delivering cinematic-sized insults with zero hesitation. Tyrus plays the hype man, nodding along and throwing in comedic body slams for good measure. Together, they don't just expose Newsom, they drag him under a spotlight so blinding it makes Hollywood's red carpets look dull. And the irony? Newsom always wanted to be the star, the guy with the perfect smile and slick one-liners meant to make everyone swoon.
Gibson lost his house in these wildfires. And what you just saw there was an effort to recall the governor and Mayor Bass. Does his star power in this matter?
It matters in the sense we're playing it now on national television on a highly rated Fox and Friends First show, and that has gone viral on social media. And meanwhile, the same day that Mel Gibson says what he says there, and he's correct on so many things as far as the management of wildfires, Gavin Newsom's approval on the handling of the wildfires is only 30%.
Wow.
Instead, Gibson and Tyrus cast him as the villain in their roast special. Not Darth Vader, but a Scooby-Doo bad guy. Pull off the mask and it's just a slick operator running a scam on the town. That's the real sting. Newsom thought he was auditioning for president, but he ended up as the comic relief in someone else's show. If Gavin Newsom has one skill better than running California into the ground, it's pretending he isn't. He struts around like the lead in a Netflix political drama. But instead of intrigue and leadership, it's endless shots of him combing his hair while potholes multiply like rabbits in spring. If Gibson can stare at a dystopian nightmare and still say, "too much," then Newsom has officially crossed into parody territory. And right on cue, here comes Tyrus dropping a verbal elbow from the top rope. He doesn't need polished phrasing, he just calls it what it is, a disaster in hair gel. This is a man built on being allergic to nonsense, and Newsom practically radiates it. It's like watching a pit bull tear into a chew toy shaped like a politician. No hesitation, no mercy, just the squeak of plastic and shredded dignity.
You can watch it. Look at the blinking. Blink, look. Meet me at the house. Like, he's blinking. He's sending, I'm getting there. Hey, just so you know, I'm not wearing pants.
Ew.
And then, look, he's blinking. And then eventually, the camera guy realizing that he's signaling him, so he gets appalled, leans back, camera comes down, and then we're back to this. I'll do this for you. You do this for me a little. So he's saying whatever he's going to say. There it is. See? They couldn't hold him back. He's like, I'm not on film. Oh, I'm not. Nope.
What makes it hilarious is that Newsom probably thought he was untouchable in this arena. Politicians expect critics to be other politicians, rival governors, mayors, or maybe a late-night host tossing a weak jab. But Gibson and Tyrus? That's a whole different league. Gibson calls him out with the subtlety of a car chase explosion, and Tyrus drives it home, showing this isn't just about California. It's about the absurdity of a man acting Oval Office ready while his state looks like a survival show where no one wins. California is supposed to be the land of dreams, movies, beaches, and glitz. Under Newsom, it's a theme park ride called Collapse. Admission's free if you're homeless, overpriced if you're not, and the only working ride is the one that takes you out of state. The punchline isn't just funny, it's devastating. Gibson has lived in the Hollywood dream factory long enough to know the difference between a blockbuster and a flop. Right now, California isn't even straight to DVD, it's straight to a YouTube fail compilation. It's harder with the contrast. Gibson storms in blazing, the kind of energy that makes you think you'd grab a sword and charge down the 405. And Newsom hands him the material like a gift basket, rolling blackouts, sky-high rent, and crime rates that make Gotham look safe. Pick an issue. California is failing. But the hair? Immaculate. If there were a tax break for pomade, the state would be debt-free by now. Gibson can't resist tearing into that vanity, and Tyrus lands the knockout by pointing out the truth. Great hair doesn't fix bad leadership, it just makes the collapse look prettier on camera. You can almost picture Newsom backstage, frantically running his fingers through his hair, desperate to keep every strand in place.
Well, speaking of full of I'm sorry, I'm confused. He's still governor, right?
Yes.
So he could do something about it. That's the most irritating thing, is that why did anyone say with a follow-up where he's like, the homeless situation is ridiculous? Follow-up question, aren't you governor?
Yeah.
Like, that's the difference. That's the difference between the radical left and President Trump. He'll talk about something as it's...
Because once you're reduced to a punchline, all that's left is the illusion of control. And for Newsom, that illusion comes wrapped in a shiny, blow-dried package. The brilliance of this spectacle is how it strips him bare, exposing a man who confuses appearance with substance. He's like a knockoff designer bag, flashy from afar, but falling apart the moment it's actually used. Sure, he's dodged scandals before. Lavish dinners during lockdowns, policy flops swept under the rug, and endless speeches that sound like TED Talks for people allergic to facts. But when Mel Gibson, whose rants are Hollywood legend, makes you his latest target, and Tyrus piles on with heavyweight snark, your carefully polished image starts to unravel like a cheap costume under stage lights. The genius is all in the timing. Just as Newsom was polishing his presidential ambitions, auditioning for the big role, Gibson and Tyrus arrived with a reality check so savage it made his audition tape look like a blooper reel. Instead of standing tall on the national stage, he's stumbling as the butt of the joke, realizing too late that two unlikely critics just tore away the one thing he treasures most, his image.
How much more of their destructive decision-making masquerading as leadership are we going to tolerate? It's time to take back our community and our state and put the power and the privilege in the hands of competent leaders whose goals are to protect us and the way of life this nation was founded upon and promises to offer. That's all.
And the humiliation isn't going anywhere. Gibson and Tyrus didn't just roast him in passing, they built a full blueprint for dismantling the entire Newsom myth. They proved you don't need policy papers or endless debates. All you need is a sharp tongue, a sense of humor, and the guts to say what everyone else is thinking. The emperor isn't just without clothes, he's drenched in overpriced hair gel, flashing a smirk the world now sees as pure delusion. Gibson doesn't even have to break a sweat. He's been in Hollywood long enough to spot someone reading a script they didn't write. And Newsom's whole persona feels like it was stitched together by interns who thought America's biggest worry was whether his smile could survive a Category 5 hurricane. To Gibson, it's a performance so shallow that even straight-to-DVD action flicks look deeper. Meanwhile, Tyrus treats the whole Newsom for President fantasy like a comedy routine. He doesn't just knock it down, he pile-drives it into the ground and stands on top flexing, turning the campaign into a punchline that refuses to die.
He's playing with us. Meet me at my house. You get mine. I get yours. It'll work out.
Paul, are they capable of soul searching? It feels like the party itself has no soul.
Yeah, I know, they have no soul. You know, it's a really interesting statement if you just kind of, you can break it in two. He spends the whole first part of that saying, we lost because this. Essentially what he says is, folks, we were on the wrong side of every issue last.
For Gibson, the idea of Newsom running the country is like handing the space shuttle controls to the guy who just crashed a golf cart. Sure, it's funny for 5 seconds, but then everyone braces for impact. And let's be honest, his resume reads like California's disaster highlight reel, with homelessness spiraling out of control. The best part is how he handles criticism. Instead of fixing problems, he doubles down on the same tired formula. I'm polished, therefore I'm right. It's like watching a kid try to ace a spelling test by writing their name in glitter. Gibson tears through the act with the intensity of a man who's fought wars on screen and off, while Tyrus calls it what it is, a performance so weak it would get booed off America's Got Talent before the second commercial break. Imagine him in a presidential debate, seasoned brawlers on one side, and on the other, Newsom practicing his smirk in the mirror, praying the lighting makes him look sincere. Gibson would see it as casting a background extra as the lead in an action flick. Tyrus would call it what it is, a mismatch so glaring it feels like satire, and the timing couldn't be worse. Newsom has been carefully staging his image, smile and shake tours in swing states, polishing his presidential sheen. But Gibson's fire, paired with Tyrus's deadpan smackdowns, is a content creator's dream and a candidate's nightmare. The cherry on top? Newsom can't fight back. Argue with Mel Gibson? Trade jabs with a wrestler? Ignore them, and the roast lingers. Respond, and it escalates. It's a lose-lose, and Gibson and Tyrus know it. They've got him trapped in a comedy chokehold,